Hi, writers and book lovers. Miranda Darrow, freelance fiction editor here. In last week's video, we talked about Curio Fiction, the subgenre of speculative fiction. You can check that out in my channel if this subgenre interests you, even if your interest is as a reader, but not as a writer. But writers for sure, check that out. But here, for everybody, readers and writers, I've got a list of 20 books that I've read that I would consider Curio Fiction. Some of these will fall under other categories, and all of them would be considered speculative fiction. But some are fantasy, some of them are time travel, some of them are just a little bit quirky. Hopefully, there will be a book or two or a handful that you'd like to add to your to be read. So let's hit it. First up, In 5 Years by Rebecca Cyril. It's brief time travel, a glimpse ahead. The main character spends 1 hour of her life 5 years ahead from her current timeline. And then everything is different because she's seen this glimpse. She returns to her regular timeline and tries to figure out how that happened and whether she wants to try to prevent it. Another one is Maybe in Another Life by Tara Jenkins Reid. It's like the old Gwyneth Paltrow movie Sliding Doors, where she makes one choice and her life unfolds in two different paths, depending on what she did at that key moment. This one is more of a romance. Would they get together or not? And how would that one choice change the main character's life? Third on this list, similar to this, is The Choice by Gillian McAllister, which is more of a twisty suspense novel than a women's fiction with romance. The main character here accidentally injures someone who she thought had been the same guy who'd been arresting her at a bar that she'd just left. But it's not the same guy. In one moment, she needs to decide whether to call for help and face the consequences of pushing this guy down the stairs, or whether she walks away and lives with the guilt. Fourth on our list is Another Time Loop. It's The Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. It's about a teen who gets pulled back in a time loop when a friend dies. This book is YA. Number 5, two other time loops for adult audiences. One of my very favorites is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson, a historical novel set between World War I and World War II, in which Ursula is reborn over and over, falling to different fates each time. I love this one, and I mapped out each of her lives and how long she lived and when and how she died and what were the main choices that she made that changed the course of her life. Some of the choices were made by other people, or even bad weather, or people catching the flu and dying. Similarly, another time loop is The First 15 Lives of Henry August by Claire North, which also has a main character looping through his whole life, learning how to try to break the cycle. A different one, number 7, is Cassandra in Reverse by Holly Smale, which has a main character who can choose to go back to a specific time and make a different choice. And boy, does that power come with more responsibility than she realizes. Number 8, This Time Tomorrow by Emma Straub. I just read this one. She can travel back in time to when she was a teenager on her 16th birthday and make one change. And then whatever change she makes, she jumps back ahead to her 50th birthday in each scenario. And she would see how this one change that she would have made on her 16th birthday impacts her at the age of 50. She can go back again. She keeps resetting herself to her 16th birthday. She doesn't live all of them. She just, the next day is her 50th birthday. It's like Sliding Doors, but with a whole lot more doors to kick open. Another fun one is Una Out of Order by Margarita Matamor. This is one of my favorites, as it's a twist on the reverse aging one, because instead of being reverse or chronological, it's chaotic aging. Every year Una wakes up on her birthday, it's a different year of her life. She went from being 18 one year to the very next year she woke up at 53 with none of the memories or experiences that she should have accumulated in the years between 18 and 53. She needs some help to cobble together her life despite jumping around time traveler's wife style in 1 year blocks with no home base for a normal timeline to return to in between her shifts. Number 10 on our list is The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. It's full-on weird with its curio feature, as the main character is the same person, but every time her husband goes up to the attic of their house, he comes down a completely different man. And everyone else in her life sees this new man as the person who's been her husband all along and has no memory of the main character ever being married to her original husband or any of the parade of husbands. Sometimes she encounters some of these husbands that she formerly had going about her life, but without any history of relationship. It's out there. Number 11 is one with an odd premise, Expiration Dates by Rebecca Cyril again. This is magically written notes that tell the main character how long every relationship will last. She knows that she'll date this guy for 6 months, so she enjoys the ride and is ready when it ends. And sometimes it's just 2 weeks, or sometimes it's one night. This prevents her from forming deep relationships, as every romance has an expiration date, until she meets a guy that she just met. All right, number 12. Very popular curio fiction, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by Victoria Schwab. It's a prime example of curio fiction. It's mentioned in nearly every article about the subgenre. Addie is blessed with immortality, but cursed with being forgotten by every person she meets as soon as they turn away from her. She can't form a relationship, a friendship, or even hold a job because everybody who meets her will not remember her the next time they see her. Whoa, what a curse. Number 13, The Cartographers by Peng Shepherd is set in our world, except for some funky magic maps that show paper towns that people can actually travel to under certain circumstances. The concept of a paper town is that it was a fake town placed on a map by map makers so that they would know if another map making company was stealing their maps. John Green wrote a YA book with that title that was a contemporary, no magical elements, but The Cartographers has taken that concept one step further and has given a speculative trip where people can actually travel to these fake towns, but they become real, but only if you have the special maps to get them there. Here's a favorite, number 14, By the Time the Coffee is Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, which features a coffee shop where patrons can time travel to have a conversation with someone that they'd previously met for coffee in the shop. They can talk to them either in the past or in the future, but the length of the conversation is limited by how long it takes for their coffee to cool. Better serve it boiling hot so they have time to say what they need. Number 15, Time After Time by Lisa Grunwald is a historical novel set in 1937 in New York City, and is set mostly in Grand Central Station, and it features a woman who had disappeared from the terminal in 1920. How she has stayed there and not aged, and she's there and only there, appears at certain times is a bit of a mystery to readers that they need to uncover. Another historical curio fiction is The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Morena Garcia, in which the main character has telekinesis, but the focus is not on her powers as much as it's on how society treats her as a result of this difference. Number 17, Every Day by David Levithan, features a character who doesn't have their own body, but instead exists day by day in the body of a different person. They wake up in the person's body in a different bed. They're not able to carry anything with them but their memories. They have to figure out whose body they're in each day, but they have their own personality, and they have to figure out how to survive, which definitely impairs our character's ability to form connections with other people. Number 18 is a fun one. Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson is an absolute tour de force in voice, and also features an entirely relatable narrator who agrees to be the nanny for her former college friend's 2 stepchildren. Everything is completely normal, except these kids both spontaneously combust when they get upset. Yes, clothes on fire, burning the sofa, but the kids are unharmed, and the former college friend wants to make sure that these pesky stepkids don't derail her husband's political ambitions. Number 19, The Minuscule Mansion of Myra Malone by Audrey Burgess features a woman with a successful social media enterprise based on her tiny house that she meticulously decorates and posts loving descriptions of every detail. But little does she know that there's a real house with all the same furnishings somewhere that she's never been. And number 20, the last one, I'll end with one of the best known, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, where the world is our world, except there's a special library where every book could be a different life of yours across the multiverse, and you can stay there as long as you like. There you go, my 20 curio fiction book recommendations. Let me know if you have a recommendation that I should add to my list to be read. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel because I have new videos every week. Until then, happy writing!